Hey, welcome to the Death of a Dream podcast. I am your host, Hanna Nuss. We're going to go ahead and dive into our greatness grounding. I want to start before saying all that. It's like, thank you for hanging with me. We are back up to full speed. Today I'm going to sit down and do a full review and strategy session with myself, because that's who's on the team. And myself and I, possibly my 4-year-old Baylor, will sit and really talk about how we can be most effective, where we want to be most effective, and how we're going to take daily action moving through those things. And so, for me, all I can say to all of you is thank you for hanging in there with me over the past 2 weeks. It was imperative that I rest and let myself fully recover before diving back in, before making myself sit and post at the rate in which I was posting before, because it wasn't serving me. It was not going to serve any of you. I was tired and wore out and drug out. And so while we still did the podcast every day, nothing else went out. And that's not very typical of my strategy with the podcast and how we're getting it out there to people. But we needed that time. So thank you to all of you. Now, this is my great thing. We decorated for Christmas. We did it early. I had been seeing people like, oh, I'm so excited for Christmas. I just can't wait to decorate. And I kind of felt like, you know what? We will be quarantining the entire month of November. Me and my children. And so we just needed something that was going to bring us joy, something that was going to switch up the everydayness that has become our house. And so we went for it. And it did just that. It brought a whole lot of joy. It brought something exciting, something to look forward to this weekend. And we are live tree people, so we can't get our Christmas tree yet until Thanksgiving, but everything else is up, and that feels awesome. And it just felt like really warm and joy-filled and just exciting when there isn't a whole lot of excitement that's going on right now, considering my kids just got pulled out of school for an entire month. We're working on doing some online learning, but it's not perfected yet. So it's been a challenge, right? But we've been finding joy wherever we can find it. And for this weekend, joy looked like decorating early. That's right. We're those people. And it feels amazing. I'll just tell you, I will recommend it. If you haven't done it, just go for it. There are no longer any rules. I'm just saying. Okay, so that's my great thing. We decorated. It felt good. It felt warm. It felt inviting. And it kind of felt like I knew that I was doing something bad, in quotes, right? Like, we don't typically decorate until Thanksgiving. Like, let the holidays have their space. Let it live. And I'm all for that. But this year it was just like, nope. And so I felt kind of like a bad girl. And that kind of felt cool too. So that's it. Go ahead and take time for yourself. Recognize yourself for your own greatness, right? That's how we start to shift that belief that greatness doesn't live in our daily lives because it does, and you're amazing, and we need you to be able to talk about it when you're called on. I'm just saying it's probably important, and by probably, I mean it definitely is. Just ground yourself in your greatness. Do it. You won't regret it. Okay. So prepare for a plot twist. And I think for me, right now, I'm just kind of in that space where it's like, okay, we've taken this new adventure. We're trying out new things. We're looking at what this is going to look like if this is our new lifestyle. And, I guess we all sit and think that we have everything figured out, that we know exactly what we're about and exactly what we're not about. And what I want to say is that no matter how developed in your understanding you are, developed in your being, we never have it figured out. And so the best thing that you can do is prepare to have plot twists, prepare to fall. And the biggest thing is just prepare to get back up again. Prepare to better understand and never stop learning how to respond to change. Change is inevitable, no matter what you're doing, no matter how sure you are, right? And I love how certain we all are. And then all of a sudden, we don't think that it can be interrupted. We don't think that anything's going to come and touch it. And then boom, it does. It happens. It happens every time. Just the second that you start to get in a flow, boom, something happens. Someone gets sick. Someone's in an accident. You're in an accident. Something changes that is meant to disrupt you. Why? Well, we never really know the why, right? That's the crazier thing. Why is this happening to me? And that's what we'll always say, why? My daughter, my oldest daughter is coming down with COVID symptoms. And so I'm laying there this morning and I'm just like, we were supposed to get through this. I had it. We're good. We're about a week away from the window of me getting to come out of quarantine. And I'm thinking we're good, right? Man, only one person got it. First off, pat on my back, because I'm just saying, if no one in my family got it, okay. You were real good at keeping this contained. And then pat on my husband's back, pat on my kids' back. We managed. We conquered COVID. Go us. It was in our household and only one person got it. I'm just saying. Yeah. So we didn't. And now my oldest daughter is coming down with symptoms. And so this morning I was just laying in her bed with her because it's not like a normal sickness, where the kids just sleep all day. So for the last 2 nights, she's just tossing and turning and moaning and just feeling and sounding miserable. And if that sounds like the saddest thing, I want you to go ahead and multiply it by 100, because it's the saddest thing to just see I think for me, the hardest thing for me to watch with my kids is when there's distress, when they are restless. Restless behavior to me is the most impactful. And so it interrupts my energy. I can't watch someone be restless. It just really bothers me. And so staying up for the last 2 nights with a child who's completely restless, who's just moaning and growing and sore, and her stomach hurts and her head hurts, and she's just crippling into this little body that's just sore and sad and hurt, and I can't do anything, right? There's nothing for me to do. I can go ahead and keep up on the Tylenol, but the fever, the body aches, the headache, there's no way to get past it except for just walking through it. And so for me, as I'm sitting there, I'm just going, why? Really? Hello? Haven't you heard the game plan? I'm just saying, I told you we were good. I'm going to take the full break. I am not going to push myself through this. We are going to rest. We won't force anything. I took 2 weeks off. We still did the podcast, but that was it. No YouTube videos, no Instagram, no nothing, right? We take a break. And so that was the plan. We were going to do that, and then we were all going to come back. And my plan was, kids go back to school on Monday. Well, that's not happening either. So now we will have taken the entire month off of November, basically. My kids definitely from school, and me now this second half of November, we're going to get back into cranking up what it looks like to get this out to more places. But really, for the most part, why me? Why now? Right? And this is just one of those beautiful plot twists where you don't know why. Silence or children or sickness or health or accidents or whatever. You don't know why it keeps happening. But this is what I can be certain of. It's first off, good things are coming, I'm telling you. Okay. When my daughter got COVID, I was just kind of really sitting with it. And now that I'm sitting here talking about it, I'm just oh, we're ramping up to something. I know it's coming. And so the why with this plot twist, why with more? And you ever notice how when things go bad, they go beyond bad, right? Just one person couldn't get COVID in your house. All 4 have to get it. And they don't just get it normal people would get it. We all get sick within the same 2 weeks, and we can just quarantine for the 14 days and we're good. My household, and maybe other people's are like this. One person gets over it, takes 2 weeks to get over it, then the next person gets it. Then they get over it, 2 weeks, then the next person gets it. It couldn't just be all together. We're caring for the sick and the elderly and the children. No. We have to get it in waves. In long-term, never-ending waves. Right? And so for me in those moments, I think that it's really important to start to look for not just kill yourself with optimism, because if you're not naturally optimistic, right? And even if you are, there are times where realities need to be at the forefront. And so even in those moments, it's not just coat it all with sunshine and get over it and you're good. Let's get past this. Sometimes it's dealing with the reality that's right in front of you. And so what does it look like to get on the other side of this? And sometimes optimism can misserve you in those moments, right? Because for me, it was just oh, we're good. Oh, we're going to get sick. That's just a part of it. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to be fine. You know what? This builds immunity. So this is a good thing too. And while all of those things are true, I think sometimes optimism can pull us into these states of false reality, right? Where we're not even walking through the world in a way that's helpful because we aren't addressing the pain that we're feeling in those moments. And so in these kind of plot twist moments, right? You're reading the chapter, you're oh my gosh, she's about to find the prince. I'm so excited. And then the evil witch comes in with the apple. Those moments, they aren't as exciting, right? They certainly generally don't lead to princes after surviving your certain death. But they do look a lot like what I'm going through right now. And so when you're about to eat the evil apple, the poisonous apple, what I want you to pay attention to is what your body and mind are asking for in those moments. Mine for the last 2 weeks has just been really asking for just rest and recovery. And now I can see why, right? Because if I hadn't taken those moments, if I hadn't allowed myself to fully recover, to fully rest, if I had just pushed through it and act as if everything was okay, I wouldn't be at my full health in order to provide now for my child who's gotten it, right? And that's going to take every ounce of my energy according to what I've experienced the last 2 nights. This will probably challenge me even more than when I had COVID. And so that's what I want you to keep in mind and to keep looking for. Those things that your body's asking for, that your mind is asking for, that you want to explore. Those are the things that I want you to sit really close with. So if it's rest, hang out with rest. Do the rest. I know it seems like you're never going to escape it. Trust me. Like this weekend, I even took naps, which is rare for me. But that's what your body needs, and allowing it to explore, find itself back in the reality of where you're sitting will help in coping with it, right? And then we just have to move and embrace that change is always coming, right? This is why essentially diets don't work, because anytime that something interrupts the flow, like a sickness, like a change in schedule, like an accident, like someone completely disrupting everything that you have going on, it gets really hard to stick to that. And then all of a sudden you're like back to just survival mode. And survival mode a lot of times doesn't look like perfectly planned meal plans and cooking and cleaning and doing all the things in the same exact fashion that you have been, right? And so, boom, all of a sudden we're just eating crazy, and we had been eating so strict, so insanely strict to be at what the ideal body looks like, that the minute that anything disrupts anything, we could just spiral out of control, and that would look like a whole lot of weight gain on the back end. And so this is why it's imperative to just know that plot twists are coming. Especially if you've been living in the exactness of your life for a while and you have like mastered that, just prepare. Okay, I don't know what it is, but I want you to hear it here first. It's coming for you. Okay, I love you. I don't want to. I'm not saying that it's going to be a bad plot twist. I'm just saying something's headed your way. Okay, be ready for it. And in the midst of those moments, I want you to really sink into the fear of that change. And the fear of my change, of my current plot twist moment, of our COVID-19 sickness that's moving through our house. I think the biggest fear for me is someone getting it and having a dire response to it, and us having to go to hospitals. And by us, I just mean whoever has gotten it, right? Because they don't get visitors. And so having to figure out how to navigate that, having to figure out how to respond when there's no right response, like that's where my fear goes with this sickness. And that's very unlikely, right? But I'm making myself sit with that reality too. And trying to do the best that I can to manage what we have going on, to make sure that I'm paying attention to the signs, to make sure that I'm keeping everyone hydrated and well fed and as best as I can, and just paying attention, right? Not trying to like, oh, everyone's going to be okay, we're doing okay. Like really sitting in the reality that we have this virus that there are a lot of unknowns about. And so I have to be super diligent. And right now, while optimism is great and will help me out of this shallow place, it isn't going to serve me if I need to deal with the reality of the situation, right? And so, boom, plot twist. I'm sitting a little bit in fear. I'm sitting a little bit, and I know that there's a very rare instance of that extreme happening, but I think knowing that that's a possibility helps me to process and better handle the situation as it sits in front of me. So these moments of change, you're not going to be able to just run through them as fast as you possibly can to get out of them. That will not serve you. Okay? It has never served me. I used to be the most avid of change runners. Like, okay, we're going to change this. We're going to get through this. We're going to do it as fast as we can, and then we'll come out on the other side and everything will be okay. Okay? We're good, right? It's not even that big a change. No big deal. So in those plot twist moments, I would always just be like, okay, let's just run. Yep. Change. We're good. Right on the other side, there'll be something good. Let's just stick with it. We're good, right? This is good. Keep going. Run faster. Run. Sprinkle optimism as you run, and run as fast as you can through whatever this change, whatever this plot twist is. Run, sister, run. And I know that misserved me in a lot of situations. And more than anything, it shortened my time here, right? Because even the bad moments are worth living, right? You still want to get the fullness of your experience here, right? Take it in. Take it in. Don't run so fast through everything, even change, even discomfort, even whatever, so that you can just constantly be getting to the other side. Because change is never ending, right? It doesn't stop. It doesn't end. It's not going anywhere. And so once we run from change, eventually we just get tired. Right? You can't outrun change. It's never ending. There will always be plot twists in your life. There will always be something changing and moving and rearranging, no matter how hard you try to keep everything the same. Right? Like this weekend, oh my gosh. My daughter had to get like medium underwear. I don't even really have a response to that. That just completely blows my mind. Here I just thought like we were good. We were going to stay in smalls forever. This isn't happening. We are in a medium. I'm still struggling to like move into that next size bracket with both of my kids. Like, no, I think both of you are confused. So we should have had this pact where nobody grew forever. And it's just not happening, right? And that's hard as a parent to just realize, like, no, they're growing. They're growing up. My 7-year-old, like, told me the other day, Mom, I'm just kind of not into JoJo as much. I think I grew up. I'm too grown up for that. I'm like, what? I don't even have an appropriate response. I guess my response was just always that they would stay babies and then that we'd never move into this. And so this is what's really important. Change is never going to be fully comfortable. None of us get fully competent in it. I think the best thing we can do with change is really listen. Listen to what our bodies and minds are asking for in moments of change, right? Because some change is just going to exhaust you, period. And so that may lead to a season of rest and recovery for you. It may just be a lot. Other changes are just going to call for you to just keep moving, like happily through, right? I can't stop my kids from growing. I'm trying, trust. And so I can either keep acting like it's not going to happen, keep pretending that we're still in smalls and not buy any mediums at all, or just continue walking through that with them. I can't change it. I can't fight it. It's inevitable. They're going to grow. They're going to move. They're going to change. This is happening. And so there's nothing for me to fight, right? I can't change that. I can't avoid that plot twist. Our stories, while we have control, we also own very little control. And so that's why it's important to really direct your life where you want it to go, to really sit down and say the things that are meaningful to you, the things that you really want out of this life, because so much of it is out of our control that we owe it to ourselves to control what we can. And controlling what we can doesn't look like being able to know the path, right? But knowing the things that are true to us. And then just preparing for the crazy, preparing for you to work for 3 years, seemingly looking like nothing is happening, to like overnight something happening and clicking and moving. And that's the thing. You can't control the end outcome, but you can control the steps that you're taking forward today, and you can control the pace at which you take them. You don't have to sprint through life so fast that you see nothing, right? I don't want to sit down and watch videos of my life. I want to be able to play those videos in my mind because I was fully there, right? And like, I love taking good video. I'm just saying. But when I experience that video again, I want to remember being there, right? Sitting there, experiencing it, feeling what it felt like, knowing that I was present in that space, knowing that I wasn't just trying to sprint through and get to the next thing. And that takes control and direction of your schedule, your presence, the importance of you being fully there, and that you have control over. You don't have control over the different plot twists that are going to come into play, but the more control you take, the more direction that you put into your life, better you'll be at handling those things, because it's not just like shiny optimism painted over everything, right? It's a mix of reality and optimism, but mostly like your willingness to pair those two in response to inevitable change and plot twists. Pair those two, listen, right? I'm so keen and all up on listening to your body and your mind. As someone confessed non-listener of those things, I've seen how wildly effective it is over the last year and a half. So just keep moving. You don't really know what plot twist is coming next. You just know that it's coming. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change the world.